Nick, you've been dumped in the deep end, really, haven't you? Taste of New Zealand. And like, have they actually given you a number of how many people you might have to cook for?
I've had a few estimates of 2,500 dishes of each dish.
Per hour.
Maybe.
And that's an 8-hour, 10-hour day. So, what do you do? How do you get your head around that sort of number?
You don't really. It's I think once we're there, it's going to be fine. The organisation of getting there is going to be a little bit harder. But you know, it's a great, exciting opportunity. So we haven't held anything back. So it could be the downfall of how we're going to go.
Yeah.
We're all pretty excited about it.
Alright, so we're sitting here at Sale Street, which is one of our favourite Auckland corners. So you guys are going to have a nice big stand there. How many different dishes will you have on offer?
I'll have 3 dishes. We'll have a tuna entree, popcorn pork and Canadian scallops as main, and then cotton candy bubbles as dessert.
Sounds very sort of cutesy, like the popcorn pork. Are we talking popcorn as in popcorn?
You are actual popcorn. So it's a popcorn snow in essence, and made it into a dust. With my food, don't ever expect what you think you're going to get.
Alright, so the label can be slightly misleading.
Yeah.
So the popcorn used to be popcorn.
It did, and it tastes like popcorn, but the texture's a little bit different. I try to construct dishes that make people think about what they're eating.
So obviously before you become the head chef of the kitchen, how does somebody start going about and trusting themselves doing crazy stuff like doing weird stuff with popcorn that is no longer popcorn? It's been turned into snow.
Yeah. it takes a lot of time and a lot of hard work, and eventually you have a team behind you that does everything exactly the way that you want to. So I've got a great team in my kitchen, and it allows you to start experimenting, and we go through progression. So we'll have an idea, and then we've started to map our ideas. So we have got strange flavour combinations that we know that work, and then we eventually end up with our final product.
So ideally, if I was to cleverly eat this, so I got a little bit of everything, would you recommend that you try and went for? So I'm going for tuna here. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that the way everybody should do it, the way I would do it, is try every little element on their own.
Okay.
And then when you put them all together, you can see where I was going with the dish.
I'm going to eat a flower. Look, I'm going to put a flower. Oops, I've got my. Now, what's that jelly bit? That's the.
Lemon verbena.
That's the lemon and verbena. Yum. That sounds
Lemon verbena mint.
nice. And a tiny bit of fennel. Okay, a lot of fennel. I'm getting there. See what I mean about spoons and bowls?
So essentially, I've used maltodextrin with olive oil. So it's allowed me to put the olive oil on top of the dish. So that's the first thing that's going to dissolve in your mouth. And as you know, fat, once it's dissolved in your mouth, helps draw the other flavours out of the rest of the meals. These are borage flowers.
Borage flowers, okay.
And the tomatoes, they're a Japanese style tomato. So I made a gel from suya, which is a vanilla and soy sauce stock.
Oh my god, I just got the soy and I absolutely love it. My only complaint is it's not bigger. Come on down. So Nick, this is the pork. This is the popcorn pork that we talked about, and I can see little couple of signature kernels of corn in there.
Those are little freeze-dried corns.
Yes.
So they're nice and crunchy. They've been snap frozen, so all of the moisture's been taken out of them, and you're just left with that pure corn flavour.
So that doesn't mess with corn nutritionally at all when you do things, apart from, when you alter the state of a natural food, like I know we've got such amazing technology, like to freeze dry something, it actually sounds like you can do something quite special to it.
Absolutely. So what you've done, if you've snap dried, frozen all of the water out of it, so you just left with that pure corn goodness.
And I see there's a little bit of pork in there as well.
So the pork in here is tête de pork, classic French recipe.
You're going to
Might tell you what
have
that
to, no,
means
you
afterwards.
have to explain it to me because I'm actually sitting in a place going, sure, yeah, no.
So I have some beautiful free-range pig heads, which I'm the only person in the country that gets them, and we make them into a beautiful curry. It takes 36 hours to cook them down, and then we cut up every little bit of it, season it with some Japanese-style seasoning ingredients, and press it, and it's lightly pan-fried. And I guarantee you, if I hadn't told you what you were eating, you would have no idea.
When you say Japanese seasoning, do you mean umami? No, not that Japanese seasoning?
No,
no,
not an actual seasoning powder, but just ingredients. A little bit of soy, a little bit of mirin.
I love mirin, yeah.
Just the Japanese ingredients I find work really well with classic French because classic French is quite rich, and the Japanese style cuisine is a little bit lighter, a little bit more to the front of your palate.
Awesome. So the pork bits come from you doing some serious cooking, boiling everything down, and it's terrine.
It is.
Okay.
Then we have a beautiful Canadian scallop, some of the sweetest, fattest scallops in the market, some sweet corn puree, and on top we have popcorn.
Which is always how I have my pork with popcorn. Where's the inspiration from that? Is it just because it's a P word? You thought, hang on, what can I stick with pork?
The original idea was what could I do with popcorn and what would it match? And then we ended up making this popcorn, and when you eat this popcorn powder, it's kind of like you're at the movies and you've got the bottom end of the bucket.
Oh,
the
yeah.
best bit.
Oh, the bit that you don't share that because you all over your fingers and you actually lick your fingers, so yeah,
and
sticks to it.
we started to eat it with scallops, and it was fantastic. And then it needed a little bit more depth to the dish, and so we came up with the pork.
Well, the thing is, I mean, that's sort of life really. Unless you sort of think, I wonder what those two things would taste like together, you never really find out. I still think it's like the first person who ever ate an oyster. I mean, whatever inspired them to do that, I have no idea.
Absolutely. I think the only way that you're going to go wrong is if you decide what your dish is going to be before you make it.
Yeah.
But if you slowly evolve, you're going to end up with good products.
So does that happen a lot in your kitchen? Does that, you know, when you guys got a bit of time, hey, let's try a little bit of this with a little bit of that?
It always starts as an initial idea or a concept, and then we work through the old school training that we've got, matched with the new style ingredients and the molecular style of cuisine.
Right.
And it just allows you to make fun and exciting things.
Sure does. Your kitchen is way more exciting than mine. I'm going to grab a knife and fork, and now I'm going to try a piece of meat that I've never tried before.
Good luck.
I feel a bit nervous. So, okay, oh, it's nice and soft. Oh, that's the scully.
That's a scully.
That's why it's nice and soft. It's good to know what you're eating,
The
Alec.
terrine will actually be a little bit softer.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, totally. Oop, get it on the fork. And there's the popcorny bit. 1, 2, 3, go. It's good. I'm not going to spit that out. It's really good. I'm going to come back to your restaurant again. This smells like almost my favourite vanilla ice cream, but with a bit more sort of like my brain substance, a bit more sort of air bubbly. What have you got? Is this like pudding?
This is inspired from when I was a child and I used to eat fairy floss. And when you put fairy floss in your mouth and it disappears into nothing, I've gone about creating it in a different kind of way. So we have cotton candy bubbles. You're going to put them in your mouth and they're going to dissolve and leave a beautiful cotton candy essence. Lowest calorie dessert until you get down to the brulee part.
Well, you know, that's life.
We have a baked cookie creme brulee. We have some apples and peaches to cut the fat of the dessert. Some lemon mints and some dried out vanilla genoise just to give it a nice texture on it.
See, it's not doing the things it's supposed to. If that was my bubbles in the sink at home, which is kind of what it kind of looks like, bet it tastes a lot better though. In theory, when I do this, it should go somewhere.
It should. I've got an amazing product in here called Sucro, which allows me to create bubbles that will stand for 15 to 20 minutes.
That's awesome, and it just leaves a gorgeous sort of vanilla-y something. Taste of New Zealand coming up, which is probably going to be like the first day you'll feel fantastic. From a chefing point of view, it'll be like 4 days of absolute hell, but the rest of us will really enjoy it. So it's going to be a big weekend for you, and it's going to be awesome for everybody, and a fantastic time to have it in Auckland at the end of the Rugby World Cup. So you might have to be introducing yourself to a few of the foreigners.
I hope so. I think it's going to be great.
There might be a few of Le Bleu, the Tukuleur, turning up, and of course you run a restaurant in the south of France for 8 weeks a year. You get all the good jobs. What up with that? I missed my vocation in life.
Living the good life.
Yeah.
2 summers a year, I can't complain.
So 8 weeks, and you just go over there and run a restaurant, doing the same sort of stuff as you do here?
It's more classic French. It's open 8 weeks, so I normally have a team of 2 to 4 chefs, and we do 150 covers for lunch and for dinner.
Nice.
And it's a classic foie gras, brulee.
So does that French stuff, she said in her best England, does that have much of an influence on what you do here in New Zealand?
Absolutely.
At Sale Street, yeah?
I think the biggest influence that I get from France is the amount of passion that they have for everything that they eat. And the culture is just, it's a food culture. So I think New Zealand is more and more becoming like that.
Did you ever have I've read this wonderful book recently called The 100-Foot Journey by Richard C. Morris, and it's a novel about, oddly enough, an Indian family that moved from India and end up in the south of France, and the young boy, they open up this really gaudy Indian restaurant in the south of France, and this woman who has a traditional French restaurant across the road is mortified that they'd even do it, but she sees the talent in this teenage guy, and there's this wonderful story about how bossy and wah-wah she is with him, but how she makes him learn, and how she makes him learn everything French. Have you had anything like that happen with you? Had any bossy old French people boss you around?
Oh, plenty. I worked in Paris for a couple of years, and there are some very bossy chefs in Paris. Yeah. But they're just so passionate about what they do, and you take the good with the bad, and as long as you're getting something out of all the abuse, then it's worth it.
Worst punishment you ever got in the kitchen? Wow, there's obviously been a lot.
When you absolutely burn something, it's like charcoal, and you have to eat it.
Excellent.
That'll be the hardest.
Oh, well, that happens a lot in my house, just sort of like it's a weekly occurrence. Hey, nice to talk to you. This is all looking to